train in the UK is non-trivial, because today I'm going from Liverpool to Cheltenham, which means changing in Birmingham, which means two different train companies, each with different policies about taking your bike on a train. The company I'm with now, West Midlands or London North Western, is just first come first serve, and then if it's not too busy, they'll let you put your bike in these sort of areas. The next train would have been cross country, and they wouldn't let me book my bike on. They said 50-50, you can walk up and you can hope there's no other bikes on the train already. And I'm terrified about the idea of getting to Birmingham and then having a bike and not being able to get on a train. So I'm going to cycle from Birmingham to Cheltenham today with this big bag. As I say, I'm working this weekend. It's a bit weird. I'm doing a training course about perfumery in the Cotswolds, which is great, good opportunity. But I wanted to bring my bike because the Cotswolds are awesome. And for those of you who know Bushcombe Lane, I'm staying 2 miles from the bottom of Bushcombe Lane. Imagine being there and not having the chance to cycle it. So I'll just do maybe a boring video of me cycling through Birmingham suburbs, down through the Cotswolds to Cheltenham, then hopefully one day going out doing Bushcombe Lane and trying to get home on Sunday with my bike. It's going to be a hassle of a weekend. I'm going to be exhausted at the end of it, but yeah, something a bit different, maybe quite interesting. I'm big on glamour on this channel, as you well know, and here is Birmingham New Street Station, the most glamorous location I could have filmed from. But seriously, I'm quite excited about this video, however much I facetiously call this bikepacking or a commute. Really, it's just something a little bit different. I'd be amazed if this isn't my worst viewed video ever, because cycling from Birmingham to Cheltenham, I think I'm en route, next stop Cheltenham, probably doesn't seem very exciting. But I just love the opportunity to do something a little bit different to what I normally do on my bike. This was a great opportunity to cycle somewhere different, but also cycle in a different style. I do use my bike to get from A to B as a commute, but that's a very consistent, well-known thing. It's very rare that I'm like, oh, I'm going to this new place, I'm going to cycle there. So, after I got over the stress of planning this, I know that sounds silly, but it was a bit stressful. It's places I don't know how convenient it's going to be, etc. I actually was really glad to just throw myself into it. As we come down here, I think this is Edgbaston on the left, sorry, if you're a cricket person. I've not included all of the Birmingham suburbs. They were fine, I didn't feel at risk, but cycling through suburbs is never nice. Birmingham gets a bad rap, by the way. It's unfair how much people say it's a shithole. It's just like any British city. There's loads of good bits, and there's quite a lot of bad bits as well, just like my glorious Liverpool. But it didn't take long to turn left out of Birmingham suburbs, and then you're in glorious countryside. I was actually quite surprised at just how quick it was to get into this nice countryside. And then south of Birmingham, it's really pleasant. There's no like massive hills, but it's rolling. It's not flat. Don't make the mistake of thinking it's flat, which is cool but hard with a big bag on. This is hard. Amazing though. I'm so glad I brought my bike. So something I think it's important to remember for me is that riding bikes is fun. Now I know that sounds like a silly thing to say, but I have this theory that when you're running, after you're done with a run, you're like, oh, that was great. But in the moment, running is just hard. Cycling, in the moment, is just an absolute joy. I love it, and maybe I don't get that across enough on this channel, but every time I sit on a bike, I get to go, this is really fun. This is what I want to be doing with my time. So now I'm cycling through, basically around Redditch, which is a town I don't really know much about, apart from the mighty Kyle Jackson is from there. And this whole little piece of infrastructure, this road, is for buses and bikes only, which blew my mind. I kept thinking, is this right? Am I really doing this right? But see all these blue signs, it says local buses and bikes. I overtook this lad and he was He was proper sound. He gave me a bit of banter. He said that I was looking strong, and then he pushed to keep up. Now he's doing way better than me because his bike must weigh 10 times what mine does to push up that hill. Then I took a wrong turn and I went through this weird little shopping centre. I nearly ran an old person over by mistake, and they were so nice about it. We had a little laugh, and I told them I took a wrong turn. And that's why I titled this ride, Brummies are people too. Brummies Brummies get a lot of shit, just like Scousers do. I'm used to that. Everyone here was so friendly. I have an opinion of the South that it gets less friendly, as many Northerners do, but all of the Brummies I encountered, absolutely lovely. Now here's one of the reasons that I loved this ride. This is a town called Ulster. I did not know Ulster existed. There's signs that say Roman Ulster, and look at how like old and new it is stitched together. This like Tudor style housing, the old church, stuff like that. It's maybe not the sort of place that, being from Liverpool, you'd come out to for the day, but just to cycle through, you see places you never would have seen. You learn things about your country and your surroundings that you never would have known. And it was beautiful. It was really enjoyable to go through there. On the other hand, lots of the roads were a little bit shit and a little bit busy. So be it. You know, that is the reality of riding a road bike in Britain, I'm afraid. But the reason I mention that is because this Range Rover for quite a long time had been trying to overtake me, and credit to it, it never actually did slam past me, but I was quite conscious that it was up my arse. Here I am crossing the River Avon. I think this is a town called Bidford. I think if I've got that right. I probably could have done some research doing this voiceover, paused and checked, but yeah, I think that's Bidford. I think it's the River Avon I'm crossing, which is very picturesque. There were some houses there that had like jetties in their gardens, and I thought, wonder how much it costs to buy a house like that. Then I've gone past this glider club, which is cool. So it's so flat on this little plain here. Plain as in the geographical feature, not the airborne vehicle. They fling gliders up into the air and people glide around, which is cool. And I finally entered the Cotswolds themselves, I think. Really characteristic type of housing around here, this yellow brick. And I've done a video from the Cotswolds before, but no one watched it. So, you know, if you're interested in the Cotswolds, watch that. This is Broadway. My brother-in-law calls this the poshest place on earth, and you almost don't believe it's real whilst you're there. It feels like you're in a film set or something, or a, you know, Downton Abbey sort of thing. It's bizarre. And there's coaches and coaches of old people who've come here for the day, which is great because they can't look into the road while they cross, apparently. It's very hard not to scream at old people when they just step out without looking and you know you're going to break their hip if you hit them. But I tried not to because, you know, try and be polite. And as I went through the Cotswolds, there were lots of little bits like this that are probably very affluent, but they're incredibly picturesque. Like little manicured estates, nice roads. I love roads like the one I showed just before that just have the fencing along the sides. Feels like you're going through someone's country manor. And this is, I believe, Stanway. So I didn't know this area very well, and I have to confess, by this point, I was trying not to check my Garmin at all, because I sort of didn't want to find out that I had a long way to go. I was trying to push on as hard as I could, but also I had that big bag, can't really get aero, it was quite heavy, but I knew there was a big hill coming up, and I knew after the big hill it was still quite a way to Cheltenham. So this is Winchcombe. Winchcombe's another beautiful Cotswold town. Okay, it's quite touristy, but it's really lovely, and I did enjoy Winchcombe. Admittedly, mostly because there was a butcher making sausage rolls and they smelled absolutely amazing. I struggled with how to eat on this, because I left my house at awkward timings, I didn't want to just grab shit from the train, etc. So yeah, I knew coming out of here that I was coming up to a hill. It's called Cleeve Hill. So that's what's ahead of me now. And I thought I might just have a punt at Cleeve Hill, see what happens. It's amazing how quickly my mental resolve goes. Look at me, out the saddle, big bag, swaying around, lovely view behind me. But eventually I just sort of pushed on a little bit and I didn't go full gas. basically, because I couldn't. So when I got to Cheltenham, my colleagues told me that I'd absolutely made the right decision, because the train they got from Birmingham to Cheltenham, the one I would have tried to hop on, was so full that they could barely stand on it without a bike, let alone the idea of trying to get a bike on there. So I would have been stranded. There's no way I could have done this. So I'm really glad that I did it the way I did. And I'm just pulling into Cheltenham now. Premiering, you know the deal. I've literally just arrived. I'll admit, I started finding that not quite so fun towards the end. It was a block headwind the entire way, and this backpack. I'm not meeting Matt for dinner for 2 hours, but I am right on the verge of bonking. I think I'm going to sack it off. Feel free to judge me if you want. It's a bit lazy in it, but I think I'm going to sack it off. Have a shower, get a little snack and refuel and stuff and just chill. That was great. I mean, what a privilege to have spent my day cycling through almost all beautiful landscape. I'm really, really glad I did this. So I've got obligatory work stuff. This isn't a sleeping bag, this is a raincoat that packs up nicely. Cycling raincoat. I have to leave my bike in the room tomorrow while I'm at this work thing, so I'm gonna lock it to the bath just in case. Absolute bare minimum on toiletries. I've got a toothbrush and a barely full toothpaste. I can't compromise on hair gel. I do apologise. That's my only vanity. And a small deodorant. Cycling kit. Pump. I've got cycling nutrition on the sides of my bags, which I haven't actually used. And then clothes. I've got one jumper. Sleep mask in case I need it. One shirt. One t-shirt. Enough pairs of boxers. As in, I'm just wearing a clean one and one for tomorrow and that'll be fine. And a pair of jeans. Ample socks. I'm going to do the old washing my cycling kit in the sink. You can get fancy soaps, right, that are supposedly gentle on your skin for your cycling kit. This is water, what I call SLES, sodium lauryl ether sulfate, and cocamida propyl betaine. They're the main soaps in there. They're fine. They're absolutely fine for cleaning your clothes. So I've put a few pumps of that in. I will give them a bit of a scrub and then I'll dry them. So drain the water. I'm literally just going to wring it all out in the sink in the bath. And then do the old towel trick. Lie your kit along it. Roll your kit in it. And then just wring it. You will get a soaking wet towel and comparatively dry kit. And then you can just leave it to hang dry overnight in your room. So that's not worked quite as well as I'd hoped because it was a bath mat, not a towel. But it is that simple. The home tricks people don't teach you, eh? I say that, my dad literally taught me that. So I was at my work thing all day today, and I was a little bit nervous about leaving my bike in the Premier Inn. I brought a lock. Unfortunately, there is literally nothing to lock a bike to in the Premier Inn. Like, these are solid, you can't lock it round the table here or anything. So, oh yes, locked it to the bath. Good morning from Cheltenham High Street at sunrise. It's 7 AM and I'm going to go out and do a 30k loop that includes Bushcombe Lane. I'm going to do a little bit of a loop through the Cotswolds themselves afterwards, but come back because I need to then pick up my bag from upstairs, check out, go and get breakfast and cycle to Birmingham to get the train. So yeah, I'm going to have a full-on day, but a full gas effort up Bushcombe should be a laugh. It's only, well, it's supposedly 18 degrees, but it's cold in that wind actually. Right, onward. So this really is the ride that I brought my bike here to do. If you've seen my Bushcombe Lane hill climb video, that covers the main climb on this ride, but this is just some clips otherwise from it. Beautiful sunrise, lovely morning. I was really just delighted to be on my bike in a beautiful part of the world, enjoying such a great time. Here I go up Bushcombe Lane. Like I say, do watch that video if you haven't, because it's a horrible and remarkable climb. Really sensational. Straight up there for some of the hardest things I've ever had to cycle up, which was fantastic. But in this video I'll show you more of the loop I did as well. Nice to be out in the morning, and frankly nice to be out quite early on a Sunday before all the Range Rover golfers were out trying to kill me. So this is Cleve Hill that I cycled up on my commute out, just descending it, which was much nicer. And also, thankfully, just for this little section, I didn't have the bag with me, left it in the room as I said. And then this was the next hill, which was a bit of a nothing climb, as in it didn't have many people on Strava doing it. And again, I thought I might have a proper go at it. Then it wasn't on my Garmin, and frankly, I don't know quite what was in my head this weekend, but I just couldn't be bothered. I was enjoying riding my bike. I couldn't motivate myself to really turn myself inside out, knowing that I had 100k with my bag on ahead of me as well. So yeah, I went half-arsed full gas, if that makes sense, and instead decided to just enjoy the surroundings, which did vary. And I really enjoyed this little wooded area, as you'll see in a second. The views were fantastic, but I knew that front and rear you weren't going to get them, so tried this. What do you reckon? It's not bad for a commute, eh? The nice thing about the Cotswolds is that you do get these vistas, because the land around it is so low. I've almost missed it, haven't I? God damn it. Tried my best. Maybe that'll get something. Cotswolds, man. I think I might have accidentally voted Tory this morning. And if that sort of joke's not your sort of thing, I do apologise, but it felt affluent around here, to the extent, and I've never really felt this before, I did feel like an outsider, like people are looking at me like, who is this Greb? So I went back to the hotel, checked out, grabbed my bag, and went for a coffee before leaving. Ritual Coffee Roasters. If I may say so, the coffee I had here was the best coffee I've had since I got back from Lisbon. It was phenomenal, and they were so nice, and they were so happy to let me put my bike inside. If you're ever in the area, check out Ritual Coffee Roasters. It's the sort of place that I'd love to return to. Then it was business. On with my commute. That was Winchcombe again. On my way home, I'm just going to show you the same things I showed you from the way out. There's nothing new in this. But it was really nice once again. This time I had a howling tailwind, which was lovely, because on the way out it was a straight headwind, and the problem with riding point to point is you can feasibly have a headwind for your entire journey, which I did. This bit, if you've ever played Red Dead Redemption 2, reminded me of when you go to that manor house with the inbred family, and you walk down their tree-lined driveway. Thought I'd throw that out there. Back to Bidford, there's those houses with their jetties onto the Avon again. And although the weather was still dry, it was a bit worse than on my commute out, and I'd been considering hopping the train at Birmingham, but getting off early to get even more miles in. You know, hop off at Crewe, and I can cycle home from Crewe pretty easily, and that saves me getting to Liverpool and having to get another train back to mine, because by Liverpool the River Mersey is between me and my house, whereas if I get off at Crewe I can cycle up the Wirral with no faff. Unfortunately, as I was texting Rhiannon on the way, she said the weather here is absolutely horrific. So here I am, get the train all the way into Liverpool like a lazy boy, because I couldn't bring myself with my bag on to get absolutely soaked riding back from Crewe, and it's still at least a couple of hours to do that ride, maybe 3. So going through Lime Street, this is, you know, something I've done for 30 years, so I know it pretty well. The escalators to the Wirral Lime were out, but here I go, buying my ticket, and every Merseyrail staff member is trying to go, don't bring your bike this way, mate. And I'm going, no, I'm fine. Luckily, my bike's light, but I hate lifts. I absolutely hate standing rammed up against a bunch of strangers when I could be walking in my own space.
Yeah, will
so
do, mate.
I was
Thank you.
not getting in the lift. I'll walk down this escalator in my cleats carrying my bike. Thank you very much.
Yeah, all good, thank you.
Just to wrap up, as you see me get the train to Birkenhead, then cycle home.
Great, thank you.
This was a bit silly.
You're all doing a
It
very
was a
good
bit
job
of
keeping us
a
safe.
way to
Thank
make a
you.
working weekend away more fun, and I loved it. I'd really encourage you, if you like riding your bike, if you genuinely like riding your bike, try and do stuff like this. Work it more into your life so that it's not on top of your day job. It's like more a part of what you do. I know that's got a bit preachy. I really enjoyed this. This was some of my favourite riding for ages. So thank you very much for watching. I've only put this in to show you the flooding near my house to prove that it was pretty horrible. I did make the right choice to not go all the way. And here's my journey out. You know, fast enough. Decent power. There's the little loop I did around Bushcombe and back to Cheltenham. And then there's my final journey home. Thanks very much for watching, guys.